Hello everybody, how are you? Hope that all of you are doing very well at home and also studying along with that, as I say always, and also all of you are in good health and good conditions. Well, it's time to start our geography class, right? So I welcome all of you into the geography class, and we have been doing the chapter of what? Resources, right? So let's begin the chapter. We have been discussing about resources, isn't it? So students, resources are a very important thing, isn't it? We have been discussing about all these things, and we also studied into the chapter that how much important resource could be, isn't it? A simple thing, when we know about its utility, when we know about its usability, when we understand about its value, how much worthy it is, then we can understand that what could be, how much important it is, isn't it? So a simple thing could be a resource for us when we know its usability, when we know how to use the thing, right? What is a thing? A marker, right? And all of you write with pen, pencil, all these things. Those who love to draw, you use many kind of colors and brushes, all these things, isn't it? But a person who doesn't know how to sing, if you gift a kind of musical instrument to him, or if you ask him to sing something, will he be able to do that? No. If you give this pen or a marker to an illiterate person who have never been to a school, who does not know the literacy sense even, will that be a resource for him? No, absolutely not. So what is a resource? A resource is a resource. A simple thing can become a resource, or a particular thing can become a resource when we know about its utility, when we know how to use it, isn't it? So by this time I hope you could understand that what is a resource, how much important it is when we know about its usability, and so the important comes to us. So it becomes of lot of importance. As you have seen into the last class, we have been discussing about that two brother and sister, they were collecting all the scattered things into their house, isn't it, into their room along with their mother. And what did their mother say? Well, all the things are scattered here and there, why don't you come and help me, isn't it? Such a kind of small story we have been discussing the last day. And what happened? All of them were collecting all the things together, isn't it? And their mother was asking them, was telling them and explaining that everything is very important. So collect all the things very carefully, because we use all the things. All the things are of a lot of worthy to us. They have a lot of value to us, okay? So this is the way we understand about the resource, okay? Now, as we see about the resource, your chapter deals about that how can you people can understand about the resource, alright? When we understand about the resource, we see that these resources are basically divided into some parts, okay? So let's first, as we go into the chapter, first of all, we would like to see about the reduced syllabus, okay? As I have started the geography with you, let us first of all we will see into a glimpse into the reduced syllabus, okay? Can we have the slide of the reduced syllabus, please? Yes, you can see onto your screen the slide of the revised syllabus. You can see chapter 1, chapter 2. I think a lot of you might be knowing about it, but still I would like to show it to you once again, all right? Chapter 1, that is resources. Chapter 2, land, soil, water, natural vegetation and wildlife resources, okay? Chapter 3, mineral and power resources. Chapter 4, agriculture, okay? So we'll go with the next part, that is resources and utility, alright? So resources and utility, you know about this, that how much value a thing contains, okay? When we see about the resource and utility, you can see that anything can become a resource when it has the ability to satisfy the need of a person, the need of anything. It has the ability to satisfy the need, then it becomes a resource, okay? The water that we drink, the electricity that we use, the mobile phone, everything is a resource for us because they are able to meet up our demands, okay? And utility and usability, what makes an object or a substance is the thing which is actually able to actually able to meet up our demands, and that is why we call them, these are resources. Now we'll see that what is the value of resource. Can we see to the next slide, please? The value of the resource. We can see that value of resource is what? Is actually the sorry. What does a value of resource means? You see, a value means worth. A value means worth. How much importance does it have? Okay. So metals are an economic value. Metals have a lot of economic value, and fruits have some nutritional value, isn't it? A beautiful landscape has a natural value because of its beauty, alright? And all are important to satisfy the human needs. Human needs are also of multi ways. Okay, human being has different kinds of needs. Human being have need of their not only the basic needs. What are the basic needs, students? The basic needs are food, shelter and clothing, isn't it? These three are the basic needs of human being to sustain their life into this earth. Now we can see that apart from all these things, human being also, the civilized human being also have some different kind of needs. He wants a good kind of, as you have seen, we have given the example of a good picture or a good landscape, okay, a good hill station. So these kind of resources, these things are also resource, because these are natural resources. These are termed as natural resources, which are actually able to satisfy various kinds of needs. Okay, like hydroelectricity. Okay, hydroelectricity, the simple water that is available by the nature for us, isn't it? We use the water for drinking, right? We use water for a lot of things, isn't it? If we cannot think sometime that if water is not there onto the earth, what could have happened? Everything becomes totally black, isn't it? Just cannot think about a situation where we have to sustain without water, isn't it? So such a kind of water is of so much usability and of so much utility for us, right? So we can see that this particular water has so much utility, and we have derived electricity out of it. We have taken out electricity out of it. Science and technology has developed so much, right? So we can see that this water has been utilized and has been processed in such a manner that we are able to take out electricity from it. We are able to generate electricity from it. Okay, that is the hydroelectricity. So other types of resource, in other ways, if you take the example of wind, you can see that wind is also able to wind is also able to satisfy the need in various ways, right? From wind also we generate electricity, isn't it? From the windmill we generate electricity. That is into the suppose these kind of things we find into areas where the wind has too much of velocity, all right, into those areas. Like we can find this kind of things into the upper latitudinal regions, that is into the latitudes of the upper value. So we can find like this kind of things. Then we also find that people have some economic kind of need. Okay, you can see onto the slide the value of resource. Okay, these are the value of resource. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide now. Can we have the next slide, please? Right, you can see there that after this value of resource, we can see time and technology. See, this time and technology, this have made the people, lot of dependence have come onto the technology. All right, technology has made so much of improvement. Technology has made, as I have given you the example of hydroelectricity, it by its application and by its knowledge, that is the technical know-how. By the technical knowledge, by the technical know-how, we find that people has developed so lot of skill, and education has made it possible. Okay, that technology to create, how can we create the electricity out of the water? Okay, how can we create the electricity out of gas? How can we create the electricity out of wind? Like that. So time and technology are two important factors that can change a substance into a resource. A substance can be changed into a resource with the help of time and technology. All right, and then here also we see that some patent has been developed, which means that exclusively when something is dealt out and we get out of something, or we get something researchable, and something we derive up to something, then we see that is the development of a patent. All right. Then we can see about the types of resources. Types of resources are divided into natural, human made, and what are the types of resources? Let's get into this. So what are the types of resources, students? First of all, it is we can see that natural resource. Alright. Secondly, we find the human made resource. Okay. See, when we talk about the natural resource, we find that naturally there are a lot of natural resources, isn't it? How can you think about some natural resources? Yes, you can think about natural, as I've given you the example of this wind, isn't it? I've given you the example of what? Hydroelectricity, that we have derived from that. Okay. So natural resources are what we can say, like solar energy. Okay. That is the sun's ray, that is a natural resource, isn't it? Now there can be a lot of natural resources. Forest, that is also a natural resource. Okay. The running water, that is also a natural resource. The flowing of the water, the flowing of the voluminous river from where we make the electricity, from where we generate the electricity. Then this wind, that is also natural resource. Then geothermal energy, that is also natural resource. Tide, that is also natural resource. So there are a lot of natural resources. Okay, basically these are the natural resources what I have cited you just now, and these natural resources are only able to make out, are able to fill up the demands of the human being. And as we can see that these natural resources are only can be utilized by human being. Now suppose the sun's energy that has been coming to the earth, isn't it, for ages and ages, still since the origination of the earth, right? Now we can see, do we know actually how to utilize the sun's energy? Till date, do we know absolutely how to use that? No. So how can we make ourselves, how can we improve our civilization or the technology? How to use it? By the application of technology, by the application of education. Okay, by the technical know-how, we can do that. We can reach up to a certain level that we are able to utilize the natural resources. Okay, so the first one is the natural resources. So I hope you understood the natural resources. Let's take for example about the natural resource, that is the sun's light, then wind, water, then we have the forest. We can take lot more. Let's stop here. All right. I've given you some examples. Then comes about the human made resources. Now human being have made lot of resources, isn't it? As your book suggests, human being has also made lot of resources. Now here we see that these human made resources are of various types, isn't it? Human made resources are also of various types. Human being has created lot of resources, and these resources have been utilized for the purpose of meeting up the demands of the developed human beings or the civilized human beings in today's society. Okay, so we can see there, by the use of lot of tools and technology, we have done this. Then moving on to the next one, we can see about the types of natural resources. All right, we'll see into the types of natural resources that will come onto your screen right now. So what are the types of natural resources? The level of development. Okay, the level, their level of development. Natural resources are classified into different groups depending on what? Depending on the level of development, on their origin, on their stock, distribution, all these things. Okay. these natural resources are divided on various things. What are the criteria or what are the bases on which these are divided? These natural resources are classified into different groups on their level of development, origin, stock and distribution. So we can see here this these natural resources, these are divided into, these natural resources are divided according to their origin. Okay, we can see these are divided on the basis of their origin, then stock. Also we find these are divided on the basis of their distribution. Okay, so we can see these natural resources are divided on the basis of their origin, where it is found. Okay, basically where it is found, and what is the stock of it. All right, what is the stock means what is the how much quantity it is available, up to what quantity is it available. All right, and what is the distribution of that, what is the distribution of that. We can see that these are the types of natural resources, and these natural resources are the ones which has been divided on the basis of this kind of distribution. Distribution means what? By this distribution we understand that where is it actually found, where is it actually found, where is it actually located. Naturally the things are located into some areas, and this location is only called as the distribution. Okay, suppose let me give you an example. You might have done maps, all right, and you are asked to locate about the into which places do we find the iron ores, okay, or into which places do you find the sugar cane, like that. So wherever you find, these are naturally distributed. This is what is called as the distribution. So here we understand about the distribution, about the term distribution. Okay, about the stock also we understood how much, in what quantity is it available. Okay, so stock means into what quantity is it available. All right, and origin, where is it exactly found, according to the origin. All right, according to the, from where is it found, what is the origin of it, like that. Okay, now here we see as we understand about the origin of it, is it a naturally found or is it a man-made, something like that. Okay, so this way we find about the distinguishing of the differences into the origin. And quantity we understood that about the stock, about the quantity. Now I'll give you an example about the hydroelectricity. See, when you are asked about to make some, when we are asked to make some kind of say when we are asked to make the electricity, okay, when we are asked to make the electricity, then what happens, the electricity is made with the help of the water resource, isn't it? So when we make the water resource, we find that this we need a voluminous flow of water. Okay, a river that is flowing from a very high level. Let me show you this one. Suppose that's a hilly region, okay, and a river is flowing down with lot of water, okay, like that. So when it is flowing down with lot of water and from a hilly region, then it is having two things, that is a voluminous flow of water, lot of volume of the water, alright, and another thing, that is the speed. Okay, so these two things are making it eligible and also flowing from an undulating topography, that is from a hilly region. So these three things are the things which is making it able to be selected as to produce the hydroelectricity, and into this kind of a river we can create a dam somewhere, and then only we can make the kind of electricity project here. Okay, so these kind of things are there. So this is according to the kind of quantity and the origin also. From we can see, if we don't have that much of voluminous flow, then we cannot utilize it for this purpose, for the production of the electricity. Okay, and distribution you understood. Okay, so we'll go to the next one, that is explaining about the on the basis of development. Okay, can we have the next slide please? Yes, we can see that on the basis of the development, that is actual and potential resources. When we call about the actual and potential resources, we find here that we find here that is on the basis of the development and use, resources can be classified on the actual resource and also potential resource. We can call them as actual resource and potential resources. And these actual resources are those resources which are in use with present at the present date. We use them at the present date. That is what is called as the actual resource, alright. And these are those resources which are in use presently and their quantity is known for us, okay. Moreover, we can cite an example of the coal or petroleum like that. So we can see that here on the basis of their development, how they are developed, and this is how do we use it. These resources are classified on the basis of the actual resources and potential resources. Now actual resources, you understand by the term that these are the actual resources on which can be developed, with the help of some technology. We can develop it to our next stage with the help of some technical help. We can with the help of the technology, with the application of the scientific knowledge into these things, we can make it a proper way, okay. We can use it, we can make it a multi-purpose use. Now see, I'll give you an example, as we have been talking about all this hydroelectricity and all. See, science has developed how to make a dam, right? Science has developed how to make a dam, and after that what did we do? We have developed electricity out of it, and then what did we do? From the dam itself, we have made a manifold use of it, like cultivation of pisciculture. What is pisciculture? Cultivation of fish, okay. Cultivation of pisciculture or fish culture, we can say like that. The term used is pisciculture. So like that we can do. We can make irrigation out of it, we can produce electricity out of it, isn't it? We can make canals and take water to the scarce areas where water is not available. So a lot of things can be done, alright. So in this way we can make a manifold use of it with the help of the scientific and technical knowledge, okay. Then moving on towards, so we can see this, the actual resources are those resources, these are only the potential resources. We can divide them in this way, actual resources and potential resources, like that we can divide on the basis of their development, okay. Then moving on toward, we see that there are some actual resources. These can be given example as coal, petroleum and all these things, okay. Now coal, petroleum, these are, for example, we can see that coal deposits and petroleum wells, that is in West Asia, or dark soils in the Deccan Plateau in Maharashtra. These can also be given as the actual examples, okay, or actual examples of the actual resources. Now when we tell about the actual resources, these are the resources which can be utilized in that way, alright. Here we find these actual resources are the ones which are actually directly utilized by us, okay. Like when we take out the coal, alright, when we take out the coal, we use it with the help, we take it to the refinery, we refine it, and then we make lot of products and byproducts out of it, isn't it? Petroleum is the same way. We take it into a crude form and then we use it, make lot of products and byproducts out of it. So we can see in this way there can be manifold use, alright, and a lot of things can be found out of that. Then moving on to the next one, we can see that on the basis of what we see, on the basis of the origin of biotic and abiotic factors, okay. On the basis of their origin, we see that these are divided into biotic and abiotic resources. Now biotic resources, you understand, these are the plants and the animals, okay. And abiotic resources are all kinds of resources which are actually, which does not have any kind of life into them. So we can see these plants and animals are all the biotic resources, while other natural resources like soil, rock, mountains, valleys and all these things are the natural resources or the abiotic resources, but they doesn't have any life into them. So we call them as biotic and abiotic resources, okay, on the basis of their origin. We can see that on the basis of their origin it has been divided into biotic and abiotic resources. On the basis of the origin, we can see this has been divided into biotic and abiotic resources. Okay, So on the basis of the origin, we can see this has been divided into biotic and abiotic resources. Biotic means which has life. There are a lot of examples of that, and means which contains life in them, and abiotic resources, all kinds of natural resources but does not have any life in them. Okay. Does not have any life, or we can say they are the non-living ones. Okay, they have life and they are the living, and these are the non-living ones. So, okay, we can divide it like this. Okay, so up to this much is clear to us, right students? Up to this much it is clear. Then we can see, and biotic and abiotic, then on the basis of their stock, alright, we'll go to the next one and we see about on the basis of the stock. So on the basis of the stock, it is divided into renewable and non-renewable resources. So we can see it like this. On the basis of the stock, it has been divided on the basis of the stock, it has been divided into renewable and non-renewable resources. Okay, so when we talk about the stock, we see that these are divided into renewable and non-renewable. Okay, so on the basis of the stock, it has been divided into renewable and non-renewable. Now let us understand about the renewable and non-renewable resources. Okay, so on the basis of the stock, resources are divided into renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources are those resources which we can get again. Again we can get it, and once we utilize it, we can get it once again. Okay, another batches of it comes again. So that is what is called as the renewable resource. Okay, and what is a non-renewable resource? The one which cannot be renewed again, the one which the supply of that just go on in a diminishing pattern. Okay, it goes on into a countdown like that, or we can say that there is a limited stock, and from there we keep on utilizing it, and rather we can understand that the stock is reduced gradually. Okay, now let's take the example of say we'll take the example of iron. Okay, so when we are utilizing iron by extracting iron from the iron ores, from the ores of the iron. Okay, now what happens when we are taking out lot of iron from it? Is there that the iron is getting produced again? Again it is getting produced. We take out iron and again it is getting produced. Is it something like that? No, not at all. It's not like that. So what it is not getting produced again and again, but the actual scenario is that it is getting diminished. It is getting reduced. The stock which is available into the nature, from there we are extracting it, and it is getting reduced, and more the more we extract out of it, the more we are utilizing it. That is why a lot of things are there which the concept has come that we should be utilizing the thing. We should know how to utilize one thing again and again. We should be reutilizing the thing, or we should be recycling the thing. So this word has come from that only. That okay, we'll go to that when we'll talk about the conservation of resources. But as of now, let us discuss about the distribution of it. So we can see that renewable resources, you understood? Renewable resources are those resources which can be available again, okay, which can be renewed again. Non-renewable resources is that which cannot be renewed again. We don't have or there is a limited stock. There is a limited stock, and from that stock we take it out and then we use it again and again. Alright. So the next thing is about the and here we see about this renewable resources, as you can see on your screen, that these are those which can be renewed quickly. Okay, renewable resources, these are those which can be renewed quickly, and it has some unlimited supply. All right, these are the renewable resources, means unlimitedly we have their supply. Now can you give some example of such kind of things which have an unlimited kind of resources? That is the with renewable resource. We talked about the non-renewable resource, alright. What are the renewable resource? Now let me write the example there. See, this renewable resource will come to this. What are the non-renewable resources? We have given the example of iron, then coal, then we can give the example of petroleum, which is very much utilized by us into our day-to-day life, isn't it? Then renewable resource. Now we'll talk about this renewable resource. What are this renewable resource? When we get again and again we are getting it, that is a renewable resource, okay. Now let's take the example of that. What is that? The example of the renewable resource like sun's light, that already I have discussed. Then sun's light, then we have wind, okay. Then we have the energy of the wind, then we have geothermal energy. So all these kind of resources which we can get again and again, these are only called as the renewable resources, okay. So up to this much is clear to you. Then we find here that this renewable water is one of that. Okay, now moving onward, you see that water seems to be an unlimited resource for us, isn't it? Water seems to be an unlimited resource for us, but is it actually like that? Now, non-renewable resource is that which we find that it has a limited stock. It has a limited stock. So you can see that non-renewable resource, it does not have a gradual supply. It is a non-renewable resource, and that here also we can say that there is a limited supply. So we can see that limited stock of that, okay. It has a limited stock. Understood? So up to this much it's clear to us. Then we will move on to the next one, that is on the basis of distribution. On the basis of the distribution, some few things we find everywhere, isn't it? And few things are very rare to us, alright. Few things are very rare and few things are very much easily available. So on the basis of this on the basis of distribution, it has been divided. So on the basis of distribution, it has been divided. We'll see that. So on the basis of distribution, we find that it is divided on the basis of distribution about the, where can we write that? So we can see that ubiquitous and localized, alright. These are the two things can be found here, the ubiquitous and the localized, alright. So this ubiquitous and localized, I'll try to make you understand what is an ubiquitous resource, okay. An ubiquitous resource is that which are not found everywhere, okay, which are not found everywhere, and on the basis of the distribution this has been found. Naturally, where is it found? Anything what is found naturally into which place, okay. Everything we get from the nature, isn't it? We get the biotic resources also, we get the abiotic resources also, okay. We'll see into the basis of the distribution that will come onto your screen right now, okay. On the basis of distribution, ubiquitous and localized. Can we see the slide of the, on the basis of distribution, can we show that? So we can see the ubiquitous and localized, okay, there is some problem. So we can see that, we'll see here, try to see here, the distribution is the, on the basis of distribution, these are divided into ubiquitous and localized. So ubiquitous means those kind of resources which are found little bit rare, okay, and the localized resources which can be found locally into an area. When we find the things very locally into our own place, it can be any place, can be in your place or can be some other place, but these are found locally into those areas. So we find that this kind of resources are only called as the localized resources, and ubiquitous are those resources which are not found very easily, and this can be found like that, okay. On the basis of the distribution, resources can be ubiquitous and localized. That can be found everywhere, and this can be on these which are found only in the certain places. These are only localized, like copper and iron ore. Okay, locally these are only found. Okay, like copper, iron ore, into some places we find that. Okay, and ubiquitous are those resources which that can be found everywhere, like your you can get the you can get like your sun's energy, you can get the wind, you can get the water, this kind of things. Okay, now, and localized resources are those which are only found locally, into might be into your area or might be into some other area. So these kind of things are found. Okay, so locally these are found, not everywhere, but into some places we find this kind of resources. Those are only the localized resources. Okay, these are only the localized resources, not found into everywhere. And ubiquitous are mostly found almost in everywhere, like that, this kind of resources. Next is human made resource. What is a human made resource? Human beings have developed lot of resources. Okay, that is that is which can become a resource, can become a particular substance can become a resource by the help, as I have already discussed with you, by the help of the technology, by the help of the technical education. We can develop lot of things into those we can hike a thing, we can hike the utility of a thing, or we can increase the utility of a thing with the help of the technicalities, with the help of the education and all these things. Okay, so we can see that the natural forms can be improvised. The natural form into which condition it is found, that can be improvised and developed into a much standard way, so that it can be utilized by human being, and that is attains the usability to meet up the demands of the human being. Okay, so this way we find that human made resources, people use natural resources to make buildings and bridges, roads and lot of things, isn't it? And like vehicles and these things are also been done, which are called as human made resources. Now you see, we are so much dependent on the transportation, isn't it? Our life is so much dependent on transportation. Like if you want to go to Delhi, all right, or for the purpose of getting good health, somebody into our house or into our neighborhood, anyone is seeking for some good health condition. Okay, so what would we do? We would seek for some good treatment, and to avail that good treatment, what we actually try to do, we would be flying off to a next state or another state where we can get some good medical facilities. Okay, or some good medical setup. So to avail that, what we would be depending on, we would be depending on the transportation. We would be depending either on the railways, or we would be depending either on the airways. And even you people, when you are coming to the school, you are also depending on any kind of transportation, isn't it? That might be some vehicles, those are running on the road, or might be your own vehicle, but we are dependent on that. So these kind of resources are unanimously used by the human being to meet up their day-to-day life, okay, or to meet up their so these things have become so much of importance to us that these are human made resources. Okay, these have turned into human made resources. Like that, you can understand that this transportation industry is something that has been developed by human being. Okay, so we can see that people has made lot of resources. These are the human made resources. Okay, so here we find that human being has made lot of utilization, human being has done lot of development into their own human being has done lot of development along with their scientific applications, that the simplest thing that is found into the nature has been developed by human being for the utility of meeting up the demands of the human being. See, human being is something that can be when human being has identified a simple thing, that thing first of all, human being himself is a resource. Okay, how? Now human being himself is a resource because we are also a part of the nature, so we are also a natural resource. Understood? Now anything can be anything, any substance or anything that we find can be made up into a resource by the identification that is done by human being. If human being is not identifying a particular thing, then and not trying to discover a good thing out of it, then cannot assign that this is a resource, isn't it? So a thing can be called as a resource only if its utility has been improvised, has been developed by human being. So this development, this technical know-how, by the application of technical know-how, by everything that the human being does, has increased the usability, has increased the ability of use of various things into their human lives. So you can see the types of resources that we have discussed today. We have discussed about the natural resources and the various parts of it, from the origin, from the stock, from the distribution. Into these basic things the natural resources are distributed, and this on the basis of the origin we have distributed the biotic and abiotic resources. From the stock we have distributed, that is on the basis of the stock. These are on the basis, let me make you clear, these are the basis, okay. Natural resources are divided on these are actually now I think it's very clear to you. So these are the basis. This origin is a basis of distribution, stock is another basis of distribution, another basis of classification, and distribution is another is another basis of classification. On the basis of origin, stock, distribution, we have divided the natural resources. We'll go to the we'll go to the discussion of the another resources when we'll be going with the next part of the chapter. Okay. Now here you can see this resources has a very important utility into our day-to-day life. And here also we find these natural resources are renewable, non-renewable resources. These things also we have discussed in today's class, isn't it? In details we have discussed that what are the natural resources and which are the renewable resources, which are the non-renewable resources. We have discussed about all these things. So you go through everything properly and go through your textbooks very properly, see into the classes, and you can see that human-made resources are so much important for us. These things also we have discussed, and we can see something more I will just like to introduce here. See students, what is this? What is that? That's a flower vase. Looks very beautiful, isn't it? Now what we do, we can just drop it, isn't it? But what have I done? I have saved it, isn't it? So this kind of saving, this kind of, I did not let it go down, I did not make any depletion of it. So protecting from the depletion, not to get it spoil, this kind of thing is only what is called as the conservation. Okay, what it is called? It's called as the conservation. So we'll go to that one in the next class, and we can understand about the various other types of resources also. You can see that what have I showed you just now, students? That we can actually, we are supposed to conserve things, we are supposed to conserve various things, okay. And here we can see that conservation is so much necessary, okay. Conservation is so much necessary for us. Can you think, there is a short story given into your text that a girl named as Mona, she had a nightmare, isn't it? She had a nightmare, she had a kind of thinking into her mind that if she had dreamt like that if a day comes like this, that there is no water, and what could be the condition? What could be the condition if there is no water? Then she thought that the fishes would be starving and we would be starving without water. Everything would have become dry and everything have become so much hot. So we just cannot imagine the situation without water, isn't it, onto the surface of the earth? Or even if there is no water, then what could have happened? Means absolutely there would be no rain, and a lot of things would have gone into massacre, isn't it? So we can see that in this way we should be understanding the value of the water. So in that way we should understand how to use it. There should not be any kind of reckless utilization of the resources. There should not be any kind of unlimited utilization of the resources. So for that, what we need? We need the kind of conservation, isn't it? We need the kind of conservation. Anything that we are not letting it to deplete, that we are not letting it to go down, we are not letting it to spoil. So that is the thing, is what about conservation, okay? We should be utilizing all the things, but we should also know how to conserve it, okay? So these kind of things we will be discussing, and something more we will be discussing about all these things. Okay, so conservation, you can understand, not letting it to deplete, not letting it to get spoiled, and also we will be utilizing everything, but yes, we will be preserving it for the next generation. Our things should be like that, that it will be preserved for the next generation. Our generation should also be, our next generation should also have the facility of using all the things that we are using today. Okay. So in that way we can understand all the things should be into a proper utilization. All right. So with this notes that conservation is better than depletion. We should not be starving. Conservation is better than starving also. So with these notes we come to the end part of our class today. All of you go through the class and see into see into the text, and if you have any questions, note down your questions, put those questions to me into the next class. Till then, all of you stay safe, stay healthy, study well, and thank you for watching, students. Have a great day.